How's it going, everyone? As you can tell by the title, what you're going to see today is sniping highlights with the rifle called the SRR-61. I believe it's the last unlock that isn't actually an assignment unlock for Battlefield 4. And so far I just unlocked it. I just unlocked the straight pull bolt for it, so I haven't even got the rangefinder or anything for it. But my goodness, this is a great gun, and I already know just by the feel of it. Listen to the sound of this thing. It's just... this thing's amazing. Great sound, great feel, and incredible amounts of power. And I think it has the least bullet drop and the longest range in the game, if I'm not mistaken. I can absolutely be seeing this one becoming basically a full-time use one. This one might be my M98B of Battlefield 3, despite the fact that the M98B is actually in Battlefield 4. The stats with it say that it has 100 damage up to 12.5 meters. And the drop-off becomes 59 damage once you pass 150 meters. So this gun has an incredible amount of damage output and incredible range. The reload time for it is, I think, 4.8 seconds when there's not a bullet in the chamber, and it's 3 seconds when there is a bullet in the chamber. So its reload time is pretty good too. The time to cycle the bolt isn't very long. It's actually pretty decent. The actual rounds fire at 620 meters per second, and its maximum range is 3,100 meters. So this would probably be the gun you want to use if you're going for the longest sniper shot on YouTube. And this one's also, it's not the best choice if you were going to go the aggressive recon approach, but it is probably the best choice if you prefer the least bullet drop off and you prefer, you know, incredible amount of damage output in shorter range. But again, the only drawback is the bolt cycling is decently long compared to the other ones. And the other, well, obvious damage output problem is that the, like say, the M4A5 would probably beat it in terms of actually being able to fire quicker follow-up shots. But other than that, this gun is an absolute monster. This one here is absolutely going to be the one I use in the near future. And when I unlock the rangefinder for it, I can absolutely see myself becoming an even more dangerous sniper with this thing, because it's going to tell me all the range. But you'll notice most of the targeting I'm using in these highlight sort of clips here are basically inside of 250 meters. And you'll notice that it's sort of like the M98B that Battlefield 3 was. You barely even have to account for bullet drop at all inside of, like, well, at the very least you don't have to account for it at all inside of like 200 from the looks of it. Just aim slightly above the guy's head and fire, and this thing is almost instantly going to hit its target. The bullet speed on this thing, I believe too, is the highest in the game, unless you're actually going to count the 50 cal. But for all intents and purposes, I'm not actually going to include the 50 cal in my sniper rifle recon breakdowns, because that's, you know, a level specific gun that anyone can, or that only one person can get at a time. I figure it would probably be the most accurate in terms of being able to measure output and accessibility if I was to only include guns that you can get through unlocks. Because, well, like if I had the 50 caliber and you were in the same match as me, well, you wouldn't be able to get it, and we wouldn't be able to actually compare, you know, damage problems. Plus the 50 cal in that game is an insta kill wherever you hit the guy and whatever range you hit the guy. And that's why there's only one of them. That's why it's not a feature gun. Otherwise, well, sniping would be incredibly overpowered, and you'd have 64-man servers with 64 people playing recon. And that's, I'm sure, not what everyone wants, and not what DICE certainly wants. This one here on Paracel's Storm, it's actually one of my least favorite maps at the moment, just in terms of how it plays. But for sniping, I find it pretty good, because a lot of people like to go on the islands. I do hit, I think, an over 600 meter headshot on it, and you'll notice the bullet drop on it is pretty decent. But that's because I didn't dope my scope. If you dope your scope, like on this gun, this is why I like it the most, I think, is that because you barely even have to dope your scope for this thing. Aim slightly above the guy's head, and it's an almost instant headshot. Even inside, well, it's an insta shot inside 200, but even if you're at 300-400, you aim slightly above, and you're still gonna hit the guy in the head. At 600, I had to put it slightly, like a notch or two above on the 8x scope, and it was still an immediate headshot. If you dope your scope with this thing, you can probably easily hit 1,000, and you'd barely see the bullet drop much at all. But that's a breakdown of it. Those were the stats with it. Hopefully you enjoy this gun. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. And here's the 600 meter shot, I believe. See you later.